Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for June 2023, looking at your connection to the person you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of it. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. These energies can absolutely be swapped. So if you resonate more with the energy to my right than to my left, that is completely normal. Just remember, these are general readings. They will not resonate fully for everyone. They are meant for you to take what resonates and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. I have a different tarot deck we'll be diving into for each side of the connection, as well as my advice card I'll be pulling at the end in the extended, and then obviously the cards that I've already pulled for the overall energy. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Capricorn. Okay. On your side of this connection, you have new life with the Tower card here. So this is interesting because I feel like things in this connection kind of fell apart in a way. This Tower kind of happened. Now, I also feel like this Tower happened because it's like this Tower happened to create a new beginning. Now, I don't know whether or not this new beginning exists in this connection or not, but I do feel like the Tower moments that happen in this connection or have happened, meaning, you know, those emotionally charged events, the times when you're feeling very heavily triggered, when it feels like things are kind of crumbling, they're trying to bring certain aspects of your shadow side to the surface. And we'll talk about that in a second, because I feel like you and this person mirror each other a lot, so that you can heal and essentially kind of align with the person that is meant to be in your life. Now, I saw something the other day that really hit home, and it basically said, your biggest complaint about your partner, and now these are love readings, but it doesn't have to be romantic, but this quote is talking about romantic. It said, your biggest complaint about your partner is a reflection of your deepest emotional need that isn't being met, and not their biggest flaw. And so that kind of feels like what is coming up here is something in this connection is being triggered to show you which emotional needs you have that are not being met, so that you can address those. Now, this person, they have shadow with the Temperance in reverse. Now, this is interesting too, because I feel like this person has a tendency to interact in this connection from a place of their shadow side, their unhealed self, which means you could experience them running from, the connection, running from difficult conversations, kind of jumping more into their shadow side, into like a frustrated energy whenever there are issues in the connection or whatever the case is. And I feel like that has burdened you in a way, because I almost feel like what this connection turned into was you trying to keep this person happy, and almost like this energy of walking on eggshells. Now, the truth of this connection, and between this connection, you guys have grounded with the 10 of Wands. I feel like this connection is a big part of, or was a big part, take it as it resonates, of like what kept you grounded at one point. But it feels like it's now turned into kind of this 10 of Wands. It feels burdensome. Not that you feel like this person is a burden, or that they feel like you are a burden, but it just feels like the connection itself has reached this point. And it doesn't mean that there's no return or anything like that, but it just has reached this point of you feeling like maybe you can't do anything right, or feeling like no matter what you do, it always just kind of ends in a fight or something like that. And I feel like it's kind of created a lot of tension in this connection that has been really difficult for both people to navigate. So let's see. For Capricorn side of the connection to the person they are dealing with, what does Capricorn need to know about their side of the connection? This is for Capricorn side of this connection, please. See, that's exactly what I was feeling. This is a card of like holding back from how you really feel because you're trying to keep the peace here. Because it feels like maybe when you speak up, or when you are honest about how you feel, it turns into maybe an argument, or you feel like you're never heard. And so over time, it's kind of like you've just decided to maybe keep quiet about your own emotional needs to keep the peace. Because I feel like this person has a tendency to maybe get very triggered or very reactive. And because of their emotional reactions to maybe how you have communicated boundaries in the past, or tried to, or have spoken up about your needs before, it's kind of turned into feeling like, well, I don't really ever feel heard when I do speak up, and so there isn't really a point in me speaking up anyway. And I feel like that's kind of why you've gotten to this point where you feel this, like, I don't know if it's a tension or a heaviness in this connection that has been really hard for you guys to work through. Okay, Capricorn side of the connection. Capricorn side of the connection. Ooh, okay. Could be dealing with a fire sign. So, Leo, Aries, and Sagittarius, but you don't have to be. You've built up some resentment for this person, Capricorn. Because over time, like I kind of mentioned, you experienced this lack of being heard, this lack of having your needs met, that it got to the point where you buried so much of your own needs, that because you didn't feel safe speaking about them, or you didn't feel like it mattered if you did. It's driving me crazy. And so over time, that created a resentment for this person, because it felt like no matter what you did or said, it just feels like it, like, I don't know if it like felt like it wasn't enough, feels like it isn't enough, or if it's just like this, you can't keep this person happy because there's always an issue. Maybe they're always bringing up a new issue, and it just feels like there's no like really solving the problem, because it just feels like this person is in a very reactive energy. Capricorn side of this connection. But we'll see what they're dealing with, because who knows why they're being triggered, right? Okay, Capricorn side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. Capricorn side of this connection, please. There has either been a separation from this person that has induced anxiety, or there is a really big worry about like losing this person. And it's gotten to the point where, like, if you are afraid of losing this person, which is really what I feel like it is, it's like a fear of losing them for good or something. It feels like you have maybe overgiven to the connection a little bit, Capricorn, and we all do this, right? To try to keep the love that we want and we feel we deserve in our life. Is sometimes we have a tendency to sacrifice our own needs and desires in order to make it work. Now, over time, like I said before, that can lead to resentment, because yes, we're resentful of this person, of the other person for not, essentially meeting our emotional needs, but we're also resentful towards ourselves, because we are the ones sacrificing our own boundaries and our own needs for the connection, right? And so that's typically where you can kind of get into the concept of mirroring, which I feel like is taking place here. But I feel like because this person, maybe they're very triggered, maybe they're going through a lot, it just feels like you've really like have been the one to bear the burden of their emotional inconsistencies or emotional like unavailability, whatever the case is. This is Capricorn side of the connection. What else does Capricorn need to know regarding this person, their side of the connection to this person? I feel like from a young age, because you have the Page of Wands with the Two of Pentacles, I feel like from a young age, it was kind of maybe your responsibility. Maybe you felt like you had a responsibility of other people's emotions. So, for instance, you could have grown up with parents who were also emotionally reactive, or maybe narcissistic parents, or things like that, situations like that where these, and that doesn't mean that they were bad. Parents are caretakers. Obviously, this is a general reading, take it as resonates, but it feels like it's like there's been a part of you that has maybe always kind of, to a certain extent, been a people pleaser, because you in some way, shape, or form have always had a tendency to take responsibility for other people's emotions. And if other people are unhappy, you feel like it is, you take it upon yourself to, be the one that is supposed to make them happy, or whatever the case is. So, and that's nothing to be ashamed of, because again, this is a learned behavior that you have experienced from childhood. And if it wasn't through your parents, it could have been through friendships or just other relationships, right? Because it feels like you have taken on this burden of trying to keep the peace, or trying to create this balance here in the connection, when in reality, in doing that, you've kind of sacrificed your own needs in order to allow that to happen. Now, that's a fixable situation, right? You just want to make sure that you don't get to the point where you lose yourself in a connection because you've given so much of yourself and received very little back, right? Capricorn side of this connection. My throat is all clogged today. I just got back from a wedding this weekend, hence my nails actually being painted. That never actually happens. It feels like this person, it feels like they, okay, are a little bit controlling. Now, typically other people are controlling whenever they feel very out of control, right? I feel like this person has a tendency to, and maybe you share, I feel like you share like just like stability with this person. You could share finances or a home together, or something. It's like a part of your stability is connected to this person. And I feel like that has created maybe a little bit of like, now this is a very extreme term, but like a power struggle, or maybe a situation where it just feels like this person has reached for more control over this connection than you've expected, or than you've experienced, or than is healthy, something like that. And it's come up through this Four of Pentacles energy. I'll take this one. Capricorn side of this connection. And you could be dealing with a water sign too. Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. Again, you don't have to be. I just call it out as I see it. This is for Capricorn side of this connection to the person they are dealing with. There's a lot of passion in this connection. I feel like you guys have a very intense connection. But this Empress in reverse energy is still this energy of not putting yourself first, or choosing yourself, or standing up for yourself, or setting boundaries, or whatever the case is. And I feel like there's a part of you that does that. It's like, because you do feel like this connection has a certain aspect to it, this like passion aspect, or this initial, this pull that you have to each other, this intensity that the connection has. It feels, maybe you feel like you have to sacrifice your needs for it, because to, in some way, maybe you feel like it's worth it to do that. And sure, all relationships and all healthy relationships, they will come with sacrifices. Absolutely. You just want to make sure that you don't get to the point, again, I've already kind of said this, but that you don't, lose yourself in a connection because you're so afraid of losing the other person that they become the priority and you put them ahead of yourself, right? Because that's when we forget that our own needs and the love of ourself and our desires and our insecurities, and all of those aspects of ourselves, they still matter, even when we're in a connection that makes us feel like they don't. And if we stay in these connections over time, we start to believe and learn that our needs, our desires don't matter, that our insecurities are just insecurities and they're not, we don't really deserve to have someone that allows us to work through those in a safe place. All of those things that kind of come up whenever you do sacrifice your own self essentially to make a connection happen. And I'm not saying that's the case here. Remember, these are general readings, but just taking some of this into account. Okay, let's look at this person's energy toward Capricorn. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. You have Shadow with the Temperance in reverse. What is this person's energy toward Capricorn? What does Capricorn need to know about this person's energy? Okay. King of Pentacles in reverse. This person is, the King of Pentacles in reverse can be like an energy of being like a little too materialistic. Like maybe they're really focused right now on their material world, like not so much their emotional world. And maybe that makes it difficult because maybe there is a part of you that's like, well, when they get to a certain point in their career, when they make it to where they're trying to go, like then maybe they'll be who I need them to be or what I need them to be, or then maybe they'll calm down and there will be room for my needs, right? And maybe that's what it's coming down to, is like maybe this person is so focused on other aspects of their life that it feels almost like there's no room for your own stuff in the connection. This person's energy toward Capricorn. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. I feel like this person is kind of like, maybe they're like a little bit more untraditional than you. I don't really know what that means. Like, I don't usually read this. I know that the Hierophant can be like a card of, tradition and things like that, but I don't usually read it like that. But for some reason it's coming through. Like maybe they're building their own business, or maybe they're doing something that you feel requires like sacrifice. But I also feel, I am going to read it kind of the way that I usually do, in the sense that they kind of need a little bit of a perspective shift here. I feel like they have a tendency, Capricorn, to really take you for granted. And maybe it's because they're, doing their thing and trying their best to, build their own world, or they're so focused on a project or something like that, that it's, I don't know, it feels like there's this energy of like selfishness on their side. That has continued to the extent where you don't feel like there's room for you. This person's energy toward Capricorn, and that's maybe like because they're stressed out or super reactive or something, you feel like you need to be extra patient with them, or like maybe you have been, but it's just too much for you now. This person's energy for Capricorn, the King of Swords. We have now seen all of the kings. We've seen the King of Wands, Cups, Pentacles, and Swords. I feel like you're very empathetic towards this person's past. King of Swords the Six of Cups in reverse. Like, maybe you understand why this person is reactive. Maybe you understand why they are the way they are. But I also feel like you want to make sure that you're not giving this person more empathy than you're giving yourself, right? Because understanding why, understanding someone's mistreatment of you and tolerating it are two very different things. Remember, unconditional love does not equal unconditional tolerance, because there's that King of Cups in reverse again. It feels like they do have a tendency to maybe be a little bit manipulative, a little bit controlling, a little bit a little bit like, I don't want to say toxic, but that's kind of what's coming out. Like, and it's because they're very reactive. They're coming from their shadow side. I just feel like this whole reading so far is just making sure that you are not bearing the emotional burden of someone else. Just because they've experienced a tough past doesn't mean that that has to now become your burden to bear, right? This person's energy toward Capricorn. This person's energy toward Capricorn. This connection makes them feel very out of control. I feel like this person with the Emperor here, they're very used to having control. And because, again, there is an intensity that exists in this connection. We saw that with the Ace of Wands. Maybe it feels like because of the intensity and the draw that these two people have to each other, it causes them to feel very out of control, to feel like things are out of their hands. And maybe that's why they have a tendency to be a little bit more manipulative, or a little bit more controlling, or a little bit more like toxic, right? Like I said, because at least they have control over that, right? Or at least, like, if they're controlling, this connection makes them feel out of control, but if they have control over maybe your emotions or your emotional responses or something like that, then they have a little bit more control. I feel like this person's a little bit emotionally immature. I do. Now, that doesn't mean they can't grow, but the biggest thing is to make sure that you aren't carrying that you aren't just saying, you aren't giving this person the benefit of the doubt so much to the point where you're missing your own, like, almost like you're missing, like, you've almost forgotten what you need. Like, maybe there's a part of you that's like, I know my emotional needs aren't being met, but I almost don't even know what I need, because this connection is, I don't know if it's like it's just taken a lot from you, or if you've been so focused on this person's needs that it's given you, yeah, that's what it feels like. It's like you've been so focused on this person's needs, and you've been very selfless and very empathetic, but like with the expectation that eventually this person will repay the favor, but I just feel like they haven't. And it's kind of gotten you to this point where it's like, this is just how the dynamic of the connection is now, and it's left you feeling very resentful and also, Capricorn, kind of empty. This person's energy toward Capricorn, please. Yeah, see? They're like, they're pushing a lot of their issues down. They're like not dealing. No, there's a Ten of Cups. It's like they see long-term potential with this connection, but that almost is what scares them the most. That's what this feels like. It's like that's almost what scares them the most is they see this long term. So that's why they're coming from their shadow side. There's an unhealed part of them that doesn't believe that they are deserving of this connection. And so they sabotage it. And you being, like I said, kind, empathetic, patient, have been very understanding of that for so long now that it's starting to affect like almost your own sense of self, Capricorn. So I just feel like there's this need, I don't know if it's to set boundaries or to like reground yourself and what it is you do need in a connection or what. This person's energy toward Capricorn. What else does Capricorn need to know about this person's energy? See, they see you as this Queen of Pentacles. I feel like they see you as someone who's very stable. And so they lean on you for that. They lean on you for that stability because they do see that in you. But you can only hold someone else up for so long until you start sacrificing yourself to do that, right? It's supposed to be a reciprocal give and take, and maybe it is. It just doesn't feel like it has been for a while. And that's kind of left you feeling pretty empty. I mean, yeah. Now I'm interested in what this new life card is because I almost feel like you're waiting for this new beginning. You're waiting for things to get better or for this person to get to where they're trying to go or something. Because then you think that by the time they get there that things will be better, and maybe that's true, but you don't want someone who only treats you well when things are going well for them, right? You want someone who treats you well when when life is lifing, right? That's the kind of person that's truly meant to be in your life, whether this is talking romantic or otherwise. You deserve someone that's by you and stands by you and supports you through the good and the bad. Isn't just, not just someone who is there for you and supportive of you when when things are going well for them. Now, of course, at some point, sure, you need to support them, they need to support you, but just making sure that it is a back and forth kind of thing, and this doesn't just feel like you are carrying the burden of this connection, because that's why you have this 10 of Wands here in the middle of this connection. But let's hop on over to the extended. I'm going to clarify these messages by looking at the truth of this connection. So we'll have 9 different messages I'm pulling here, and then I have an advice card I will pull at the end. Thank you so much, Capricorn, as always, for your support of my channel. I do hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. Bye, Capricorn.